Good afternoon. My name is Terry Costello, and I work in Planning and Zoning in the county's Community Development Department. With me is my coworker, Thomas Wysong, who is a senior planner in our planning division. Together, we will be presenting the economic development section. Next slide. This is our agenda for this afternoon. Most of today's presentation is based on information that can be found in the technical report. The technical report is the proposed revised chapter text of this section. There was also some interest from the Planning Commission Working Group concerning public-private partnerships. Staff will present information obtained concerning this topic. Staff will then briefly present information regarding community guidance and goals, strategies, and actions. Next slide. According to Virginia Employment Commission, total annual employment statistics, James City County had 30,351 jobs as of the third quarter of 2019. Overall, James City County has fared better than York County, Williamsburg, and the Hampton Roads region in job growth rate during the past 10 years and has exceeded the state job growth rate during the same period. Next slide. James City County's local economy is subject to national trends and market pressures. The economic indicators of James City County can be measured relative to other localities to gain a better understanding of how county-specific actions and policies affect the local economic outlook. As seen in the chart on the screen, James City County experienced a steady decrease in the unemployment rate from 2010 to 2019. Next slide. The economy in James City County relies a great deal on arts, entertainment, and recreation, healthcare and social assistance, manufacturing, accommodations and food services, and retail trade. These are the top 5 private employment industries in the county as shown in the table. James City County seeks to keep those industries as strong sectors, but also to diversify and attract additional jobs for the labor force. It is also worth noting that close to 1,800 jobs come from manufacturing industries. These jobs generally encompass many desirable traits for employees, including higher pay, full-time year-round employment, and benefits. Next slide. According to the Virginia Employment Commission quarterly census of employment and wages for the fourth quarter 2019, each of the employers listed in the table shown has 100 or more employees. It also shows the diversification that James City County is seeking as it continues to develop economic development strategies and policies that are sound and comprehensive in scope. Next slide. The average weekly wage in James City County equates to $20 per hour or $41,642 per year. When compared to the MSA and state average weekly employee wages, $23.85 per hour and $27.27 per hour respectively, the localities in Greater Williamsburg as a whole display much lower than average wages, likely due to the high number of service sector workers. Next slide. According to the US Census, per capita income is one of the most comprehensive ways to measure household income. Per capita income is defined as the average obtained by dividing aggregate income by total population of an area. When analyzing and comparing the wage and income data for this area to the per capita income, it becomes apparent that while wages are lower on average in James City County, in comparison to neighboring communities, the household income is higher. This discrepancy may be due to the number of higher income households within the county whose members work outside the county, as opposed to wage earners working within the county. Next slide. According to the Weldon Cooper Center for Economic and Policy Studies, in 2019, the total taxable sales in James City County was approximately 955 million, which represented an increase of 0.48% from 2014. During the same time, the city of Williamsburg saw an increase of 13.1%. The state saw an increase of 11.5%, and York County saw an increase of 9.3%. Additionally, the county has seen significant growth in local option sales tax, which is the taxable portion of retail sales that remains within the locality. Between 2014 and 2019, this tax for James City County grew approximately by 11%. And now I will turn it over to Thomas for the remainder of the presentation.
Thank you, Terry. One important measure of business growth is the business, professional, and occupational license paid annually by businesses when renewing their business license within the county. A business license is required of all businesses except for manufacturing businesses and is based upon gross receipts or anticipated gross receipts. As can be seen here, the licensure tax revenue has been positively trending within the county over the past 20 years, with slight dampening during times of national economic retraction, such as in 2009 and 2010. This overall positive trend is a result of new business activity and the growth of existing business. Next slide, please. Another key indicator of the local economy's health is local tax receipts for tourism. Tourism is a critical industry within the Commonwealth, the region, and James City County. As can be seen on this chart, the county has experienced a steady increase in local tourism tax receipts since 2009, with local tax receipts for the county reaching 19.11 million in 2018, which was an increase of 7.1% over 2017. Next slide, please. In addition to tourism, the county is interested in recruiting new businesses to the region, as well as expanding existing ones. The Greater Williamsburg Target Sector Analysis is designed to assist the localities in the region, which are James City County, York County, and the city of Williamsburg, in doing precisely that. The analysis recommends 5 top-level target sectors for the community efforts, and these sectors are advanced materials and components, food and beverage, professional and technical services, tourism, and defense. Several current and future niche opportunities were identified for each target sector. And according to this report, this information represents the Greater Williamsburg area's current competitive strengths while planning for future opportunities. Next slide, please. The county also participates in regional efforts to attract economic development. For example, the Launchpad is an effort that is supported by the Economic Development Authority of each locality in William and Mary. The Greater Williamsburg Partnership is an organization that seeks to market the Greater Williamsburg region. And OED collaborates with the public school system in hosting Manufacturing Day, which is an event that raises awareness about manufacturing and opportunities in that field within the county and the area. Next slide, please. Through the survey and the first round of public engagement, Through the survey and the first round of public engagement, there was a prevalent theme. Respondents support economic development that results in the recruitment of businesses with higher paying jobs as one way of making the county and community more economically resilient and appealing to younger professionals. While tourism is a major economic driver in the county, it should be balanced with other employment and industry. With regards to the county's effort to attract new businesses and jobs, 88.1% found this service to be very important or somewhat important, and close to 12% found this service to be somewhat unimportant or not important at all. With regards to satisfaction on these efforts, close to 70% were very or somewhat satisfied, and close to 32% were somewhat or very unsatisfied. And the difference between the importance placed on the service and the satisfaction with provision of the service is called the satisfaction gap. And for efforts to attract jobs and new businesses, the satisfaction gap was about 20%, which ranks as the third highest gap documented within the survey. Next slide, please. And we also found during this process that there are concerns about the rate of growth and development and there's some concern about there being too much retail development when there are currently empty stores and malls. And there were some other responses that respondents had, such as wanting to have a big box store, while others do not. Some respondents wanted growth to stop, while others believed the county needed to have more jobs, which might entail more growth, as well as a desire for more small businesses, an increase in light industry, and et cetera. Next slide, please. For the third round of public engagement, the working group had previously indicated support for some potential questions, such as what does the community support for economic development priorities? What type of revenue streams would be welcomed within the county? And how could and should staff promote and foster revenue streams that are less reactive to economic downturns? And that's certainly a pressing question with the current pandemic. The consultant also offered potential questions such as what type of jobs and businesses should the county attract in the future? And of course, staff looks forward to the working group providing some comments and suggestions on these questions in the public engagement process. Next slide, please. Included with your packet is information regarding public-private partnerships within the county. And to go over briefly the benefits and limitations of this, the key benefits of a public-private partnership within the county is that there's a transference of project risk to private partners. There's greater price and schedule certainty, and there tends to be more innovative design and construction techniques. And it also tends to free up public funds for other purposes. However, there are limitations to public-private partnerships, which include an increase in financing costs, greater possibility for unseen challenges and circumstances. There's a little bit of a limitation on the flexibility that the municipality has. And there's also a bit of a risk from complex procurement processes, as well as the potential for there being a lack of qualified bidders. Next slide, please. With regards to the county, the model that's used by the county is the public ownership of land with privately owned facilities. And this is the only model that the county has utilized. And some prominent examples include Williamsburg and the Go Ape facility. The county has also sought to support economic development through upgrades and extensions of infrastructure in areas that are linked to economic and community development projects. So that would be including something like Ironbound Square and Forest Heights. The county also has engaged in small area planning. That's been a type of partnership that we've done in the past, where the county takes on a more partnership role that targets specific areas. And a great example of that would be the master planning effort in Newtown, as well as the planning and grant effort for the beautification of the Jamestown Road corridor in 2007. And the county also supports local efforts to leverage state programs and federal funding. We've had a lot of effort in the past to obtain funding for community development. And as shown in your packet, examples of that would include grants that were obtained to support the Tawana Historical Society. That would include grants that were obtained for community block purposes and for road improvements. And the county's also supported funding for the Tawana Historical Society. Next slide, please. And here we have some of the questions that have been included for the working group's consideration. And these include, should additional information on this topic be included in the economic development section? Should any language encouraging further study of this topic be included within the GSAs? Should any specific actions on this topic be included in the GSAs? And there is a GSA in the land use section that supports these partnerships. We could connect that to the GSAs in the economic development section. So the question would be, should these two GSAs be connected to one another? And also, is there any additional information that would be key to your ability as the working group to provide guidance on this issue? And we appreciate your feedback on that in the future. Next slide. And speaking of GSAs, for this initial review, staff has not revised the goals, strategies, and actions that were adopted in the current comprehensive plan. We are in the process of examining potential revisions to the GSAs and have identified some actions that could be revised. And of course, we look forward to your initial suggestions and comments regarding the revision of GSAs, and would appreciate any suggestions and questions that we could include in this upcoming round of public engagement and public input. Next slide. So with that, I will turn the floor over to you all. We appreciate your time. And if you have any questions or comments, we look forward to hearing those. Thank you.